Are you willing to pay $360 a year for Game Pass? Because that's what it costs now to get new games on their actual release day as a part of your Game Pass subscription. And ultimately, so many people have said no to that question, and they've said no right as Xbox's account management webpage has crashed. That's either unfortunate timing that we've all decided to narrativize, or, well, it could be a legion of frustrated gamers slamming that webpage and taking it down. Who knows? Probably one of the two. Now, the price hike this represents is 50%, and that's on top of loads of other price hikes. So yes, for many, this was the final straw. Game Pass, the thing that was marketed as the best deal in gaming, has now changed. I think it's no longer the best deal in gaming. The reason why is fairly simple. It's because Xbox faces pressure from Microsoft to generate revenue, and because of that, their business model has shifted. Again, because it keeps shifting, and it's almost as if Xbox is just directionlessly trying to hold on for dear life. Now look, if you don't want to code or engineer and you're not into games, you can skip this bit, but if not, you've got to get in boot.dev. They're today's sponsor, and honestly, where the were they a decade ago when I was in university? You see, Boot is all about learning back-end development using TypeScript, Go, and Python, and, well, unlike anywhere else, it's literally made for us in that it's a role-playing game. I mean, just look at this leaderboard, race past as people are completing lessons. But today, I want to show you something cool and new. It's the training grounds. It's a new feature that Lane shipped like 2 weeks ago, and it's awesome. It is infinite and specific training, and what it solves is the problem of practice. And if you were like me, much of your learning was solving problems in a university course and then moving on to the next thing, and too often not having that knowledge stick. And this is where Training Grounds is real cool. It knows every lesson you've done and when you've done every lesson. It knows what you found challenging and what topics you've learned in the past. So it can actually work in revision, basically using spaced repetition. And using all of that, it actually creates coding challenges for you. It's an awesome new feature, and that's just a tiny slice. Boot is truly fantastic, and you get 25% off your first purchase at boot.dev/Bellular, and if you're not happy, don't worry, because they'll refund you on the spot with a 30-day money-back guarantee. I do need to be clear about something, though. Xbox has released more good games this year than ever before. Well-received games, but for the overall company, it has still been an awful year. The layoffs have hit hard, studios have been closed, games have been cancelled, all because Microsoft demanded Xbox free up resources, which, well, we know are going over to the AI data centers. And this was brutal, but that wasn't all that happened. Remember The Outer Worlds 2? Well, Xbox tried raising game prices to $80. It was a total disaster. The game just could not sustain that price. Then came another brutal hit, hot off the heels of a second US console price rise in a year due to tariffs and due to uncertainty. Big retailers like Costco aren't even stocking Xbox devices anymore. Not in the US, not in the UK. So big American companies are not stocking the big American console. That's probably a bad sign. And now, of course, another price hike, the one we're talking about today, the one for Game Pass. The outrage has been widespread. Players are posting their cancellation screenshots because, yes, Xbox wants you to pay $360 just to play new games on day one. Though, of course, they'll want to sell you on the other amazing benefits that they plan to add to Game Pass. The headline fact is that Game Pass Ultimate costs $30 a month, and it's the only console tier that lets you play new games on day one, which at least to many people was a large part of the value proposition. Now that's $10 more than a year ago, and it's $15 more than whenever that tier launched. So, how does Xbox justify this? Well, they've added Ubisoft subscription library, plus a built-in Fortnite Crew subscription from November 18th onward, and biggest of all, 1440p streaming with higher bit rates through Xbox Cloud Gaming. There's also PC Game Pass, and it's also going up. It's the only other tier with day one access. It's now $5 more, being $16.49 a month, and they're also adding in the Ubisoft subscription there as well. But that's not the only thing that matters, because there is no discounted annual subscription anymore. That's the huge change. You used to be able to get these at a substantial discount by buying annual, but now Ultimate is just $30 a month, which is, of course, $360 a year. So hey, we've got an Xbox 360 now. Though if you're a PC gamer, it won't sting that bad, because it's $16.49 a month, which is $198 a year. Still plenty of dollars, but do you want to know what's worse? Well, in places like Brazil, the monthly price has doubled. Doubled! How can they justify this? Well, we know that Microsoft CFO Amy Hood is applying a lot of pressure. She wants better profit margins, and we've been independently informed about Games Pass, where as a service, it is comfortably profitable. Plus, it actually hit $5 billion in annual revenue as of June. But what if that wasn't the whole picture? Because new information has raised some doubts. Bloomberg reported something real interesting, that Xbox, quote, gave up more than $300 million in sales of Call of Duty because of Game Pass. The game business also has data supporting this, and Xbox's audience share is at its highest in years. But here's what Circana's Matt Piscatella points out, and this does actually matter, right? Because it's not such a simple story. Call of Duty didn't just lose sales to Game Pass. What it did, yes, well, it sacrificed a bunch of upfront revenue, is it got a bunch more people onto the service. Think about engagement. Engagement that will drive microtransactions. Microtransactions that will drive subscriptions. And of course, there's a network effect to this. 13 million more people played the game that month. And those are people who can buy those microtransactions. So there's a lot of factors at play here. But let's be real. Selling more copies of COD on the weakest console, that won't increase profits the way that Microsoft wants. So what will? That's quite simple. It's raising prices on your most engaging subscription tier. And this feels calculated. You see, last year, Ultimate saw a price increase. This time, they capped it at $30. That's just enough to market games like Expedition 33 or Call of Duty as still being cheaper with the subscription as opposed to buying outright. And Xbox promises 75 games a year on day one. But audiences are doing the maths, and when they do, they find that Ultimate simply is not worth keeping in many instances. You see, in reality, there's far more happening with these changes than what we see at that top level from the Ultimate headline. No, when we go at the other things, we see a lot of change. Right, here's the overall plan. Xbox wants Ultimate at the top of its pyramid, and that's basically their goal with Game Pass right now. But they are hoping, of course, for more people to sign up at the lower tiers to, balance it out, get new users who one day may upgrade. Now, take a look at the newly renamed tiers. Premium and Essential have not went up in price, despite actually getting more additions. Premium's library is guaranteed every Xbox game except Call of Duty a year after launch. Essential's library has also doubled to 50 games. But more importantly, both tiers now provide cloud gaming access, including with select titles from people's libraries. It's basically out of beta now. It's a thing, it's out. And the quality of that streaming will go up as you go up the subscription tiers. Ultimate gets 1440p streaming, low wait times, and a boosted bitrate. That's certainly better, but Xbox is hoping something else will soothe the damage of the $360 a year price. So what they've done is they've implemented a new reward scheme. And this is great. Here's how it works. It's a little devious. As you play games, you can complete quests and in-game challenges. Those will reward you with Microsoft Store credits, which you can spend elsewhere in their ecosystem. That means you can buy expansions, DLC, games, whatever. But you should notice the timing here. Recently came a reveal, and that reveal was that points can no longer be efficiently exchanged for Game Pass subscriptions. They can still be exchanged, but not as efficiently. And then players realize something else. They can't get upfront discounts on DLC anymore. So now the benefit comes after you're engaged with the reward system. There's a little more friction there. And essentially, Microsoft hopes players won't use the discounts as broadly. So here are the broad takeaways. Essential and Premium are slightly better products now. They're usable on PC and via cloud, but with no price increase. So that's good. PC Game Passes either became more expensive or that price increases came with value that actually justifies it. And that will basically depend on how much you like Ubisoft's library. And as for Ultimate, yes, significantly more expensive for not that much value overall. So what could prompt Xbox to think this is a good idea? I mean, it does feel like they've just actually went a few bridges too far here. Well, fundamentally, it comes down to this. Day one in Game Pass used to be the heart of their marketing, but now Microsoft has got other ideas for the service. What they've seen is that the games industry is changing, and they've seen that audience tastes are changing with it. To get a sense of that, here's some stats reported by the Wall Street Journal. Year-on-year spending for 18 to 24-year-olds is down 25% on video games. And that's all kinds of spend in video games. That is absolutely brutal, and other age groups have seen drops as well, but they're not as large. Now, this is obviously part of a wider societal shift. There's inflation, there's tariff spiked, price increases, wages failing to keep pace with things. Spending in general has dropped as well. I mean, in physical stores, it's down 13% for that age group. And as much as GameStop may get themselves likes and retweets for clowning on this stuff, I think that physical purchase number is not really going to go up in any meaningful way. And that's because, per the data, people are simply spending their money differently now, and the money that they would have spent in video games is going to other things, like food. But here's what's kind of interesting. Do you know where spending has increased? Well, you probably know by looking at your own wallet. It's subscription services. And the games business noted something there. From March to July, game subscription revenue has increased every single month. And year on year, it's up 19%. That's from January to July. So that's going up. And it doesn't even include mobile games, most of which have some form of subscription as well. So from an industry perspective, subscription models are a safe bet as long as they are profitable. And that is the context for Microsoft's changes. They are realigning the Game Pass pyramid. They're focusing less on dedicated game audiences and more on just reaching absolutely everyone. Though, of course, one part of that story is a lot of them believing in their cloud push. That cloud push may be not bringing in all the numbers that they would have hoped. Now, Christopher Dring at The Game Business has explained this. It's broadly about meeting users where they actually are. And that's why the base tiers haven't really had a price increase, but are still getting more valuable benefits. You see, according to the data, a majority of users don't actually play day one games anyway. I mean, when I think about things myself, not really a surprise. What they use Game Pass for is the library of titles. So think about it. Some people use subscription services as actual libraries. They browse through them, and effectively they pay an access fee to go to that library. And that bit does kind of make sense. But it also explains Xbox's strategy, because that's why the most important change is not Game Pass Ultimate at all, even though it's the most headline-grabbing one. It's actually everything else. It's that every tier now comes with Xbox Cloud Gaming and a library of games, and what that indicates for the future of Xbox as a brand. Because, well, I've seen the headlines about the ad-supported tier, and I've seen the headlines about hardware plans maybe being a bit wobbly. I'll probably dive into those soon, and that's why this next bit is something you've got to hear, because it's going to help it all make sense. Remember Costco from earlier in this video? Well, this entire shift explains that situation. Game Pass's new structure is about their marketing scheme, that everything is an Xbox. You may wake up in the morning and find that you are in fact also an Xbox. They're not selling consoles. I mean, predictions put Xbox at 13% of UK market share next year, down from 31%. Why? Simple. PlayStations are selling. People want to play GTA 6 on their PlayStations that they already have and that their friends already have. All of the network effects have been in PlayStation's favor when it comes to big games like that and things that actually drive hardware purchases. I'm sure they look at World of Warcraft subscription revenue and think, would you look at that? And those users don't even need to own a Blizzard box to play that game. Shocking. That's a bit ridiculous, but I think you get my point here. So the idea that everything is an Xbox, yes, it's kind of their motto, but it's also their core focus. Hardware, from what we understand, will still get made in the future. That's because while there are rumors of Xbox abandoning hardware, well, they've got a multi-year deal with AMD as of June this year. But here's what actually matters now. Game Pass is Xbox, and anywhere you can access it is Xbox as well. It's on your phone, it's on your TV, maybe in 5 years, it'll be on your goddamn smart glasses as well. So the point of these changes is getting it on as many devices as they can, so that they can spread and they can find new audiences. Which means not necessarily you and me, us crusty people who, play games broadly the way we have been for quite some time. And The Verge reported on something that kind of reinforces this, and that's that Xbox is working on a standalone xCloud app. Now, what this app will do is give users 5 free hours of streaming monthly. But the catch is that you'll need to watch 2 minutes of ads first. And the way it will work is that if you have a library of Xbox games, you'll be able to play your own games. But this is not something made really for console owners. It's made for everyone else. People who don't have a console, or maybe people who have a PlayStation. Because that move about the Game Pass update is all about selling a $10 subscription for cloud gaming to everyone on Earth with a smart TV. And if you've purchased a new smart TV lately, you've probably seen evidence of that in the form of more delicious bloatware that all of our televisions are crammed with now. So yeah, it's about yield. And to hit another device, the addition of PC games to the core libraries means another thing, that the shiny new ROG Xbox Ally that's bloody expensive, well, that can come bundled with both a library of downloaded games and, of course, streaming your Xbox library. Ultimate and Game Pass price rises will extract even more money from a smaller, more dedicated part of the audience. But here's what this is primarily about. It's about introducing new ways for people to access the Xbox ecosystem at a lower price point across all of the platforms. The question, though, is whether that will actually work. Because to be honest with you, I can see all of the logic in that plan. I can see how it would be completely rationalized, but I just don't think we're there yet. I just don't think that's where people who really want to spend a lot of money in games are going to be spending that money. I don't know. It just doesn't really feel right to me. I think it kind of reeks of Microsoft thinking, which is really not the best when it comes to innovation, at least in anything that's, got a consumer as its primary touch point. What do you think about it? I think it's basically kind of screwed, and I think they've kind of just destroyed a hell of brand value. I think this is not the time to piss people off. But hey, Amy Hood, she wants the numbers to be what they've got to be, so it's gotta happen. And on that bright, sunny note, how about you see what's going on with Electronic Arts and the Saudis next?